Hey, it's syndicated radio talk show host, author, singer Al Cole, welcoming you to another edition of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. I come from CBS Radio. My shows are nationally syndicated, and I've helped pave the way to treating women, guys too, with the dignity that they deserve, and I do that through my show, People of Distinction, aired on top networks, including, you could say, the toppest. Apple's iTunes radio network under their professional news talk division, airing CBS shows, Fox News, NPR, BBC shows, C-SPAN, everything. Top talk in the country. Around the world is on Apple's iTunes radio network under their news talk division. And coming from CBS Radio, I'm also a New York Times bestselling author with Chicken Soup for the Soul. Chicken Soup for the Soul is distributed by CBS's Simon & Schuster. And also, I have a great alliance with Ariana Huffington of the Huffington Post and her Thrive Global Network, giving people extra feature through Ariana's Thrive Global Network. I'm also a media consultant. That means I help people to understand what they're into when they enter into interviews with major media and podcasting, and how to be profitable from that, how to form an entrepreneurial relationship with other people and their own business, how to professionally network, as well as how to put that core message together of what they do to grip people right away. And I've helped so many hundreds of people in that area with my media consulting as well. I also have my People of Distinction Humanitarian Awards events, and they're national events that I formulated back in 2013 in New York City, honoring humanitarian and creative unsung heroes in our world. Since 2013, I've honored over 100 in New York City and also on Capitol Hill with members of the U.S. Congress. U.S. Congressman Rob Whitman of Virginia sponsoring my event over at the Rayburn House Office building in D.C. Also great events in Florida and Atlanta as well. You can visit my website for more info on what I do, hear my shows there on my station page, everything. Go to peopleofdistinction.org. That's peopleofdistinction.org. And you can email me on anything that I can do for you at alcoleholic@gmail.com. You heard me right. That's alcoleholic@gmail.com. And I really want to thank my CBS radio listeners for coming up with that handle, alcoleholic. Seems like from day one, my listeners have been saying, Al, we love what you're doing there, brother. In fact, we're hooked on it. We're alcoholics. Coming up, we got a guy who, he's got a stimulating name here too, Dr. Robert Zulu. Now, if he sounds African, well, he is. And I'm an African-American man myself, so I really appreciate what Dr. Robert Zulu is going to be talking about on our interview today. He's going to be talking about his book, 101 Views of the Victoria Falls. Okay, so I know a lot of my listeners, they're asking, well, gee, Al, what are the Victoria Falls? And that's what this interview is all about. It's going to introduce you to one of the great wonders of the world that you probably don't know that well. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. But boy, you don't know it the way that Dr. Robert Zulu does. He's from that area in Africa. The Victoria Falls, one of the great wonders of the world because of its beauty. Yeah. Now, see, people, sometimes we put that to the back burner, the beauty of nature and all of that stuff, because we live in societies that are so overwhelmed with day-to-day business. Getting out there and conducting business, trying to make a living. Well, how about an equal time for living life as we're making a living? And see, that's what nature is all about. It gives us time to breathe, literally so. Breathe the beautiful air. It gives us time to comport with nature in ways that now we feel part of life. We don't just feel that, well, we're out there trying to struggle and this and that and all of the things that we are doing in our everyday lives. And we're belying the nature of our birth. The nature of our birth is beautiful, people. when that baby comes out, that baby that was you, says, wow, I'm here, I made it, I'm alive. That baby is looking around with beautiful love-colored glasses and saying, life, teach me all of your beautiful methods. Teach me about love. There is nothing greater than the Victoria Falls, people, to teach you about love. We've heard of Niagara Falls. Whoa. And we know that a lot of people go up there, have their marriages there, their honeymoons. Well, how about Victoria Falls? It's right up there, too. It's so beautiful. And it's in Zimbabwe and Zambia, Africa. We're going to be talking about it. And you're going to be stunned at the beauty that Dr. Robert Zulu gives the Victoria Falls. And I want you to order his wonderful book, 101 Views of the Victoria Falls, at 101views.com. And also it's available at amazon.com. And I really have to congratulate his book publisher, Link. And they are one of the greatest book publishers around. Cutting edge stuff for you. You people who have books out that want to get it moving. And also you who want to know about some of the real cutting edge books out there these days. I want you to visit their website, urlinkpublishing.com. You're going to love it all. And you're going to love Dr. Robert Zulu telling you about the Victoria Falls as well. Welcome, Dr. Robert Zulu, to People of Distinction with Al Cole. It's really a pleasure to have you on today. How are you, Robert?
I'm all right, Mr. Aoko. Thank you for the invitation. The pleasure is mine.
Yes, and we're going to be talking about a very pleasurable site in Africa called the Victoria Falls. And you love it so much that you've written a book about it, but you didn't stop at just one wonder of the Victoria Falls. Not just one view. You're talking about 101 views. Whoa. I mean, that puts it way up there in the echelon of greatness in our human family. Nature society, natural society. Tell us a little bit about this. The Victoria Falls, located in Africa. You were just a kid, most likely, and you were imbibing that beautiful wonder of the Victoria Falls. Tell us some of the very gripping experiences that go around the falls, the beauty, and also people who go there, maybe for the first time and see the falls. Tell us about their experiences as well. Tell us a little bit about this book, 101 Views of the Victoria Falls, Robert.
In fact, I was born in Livingstone, where the Victoria Falls is. And, from the time I was born, I was just immersed in the beauty, in the sound of the Victoria Falls, and in the views of the Victoria Falls. So as I grew up in Livingstone, I imbibed the Victoria Falls with me, and it stimulated my interest in touring, visiting, and looking at nature and admiring nature, and getting refreshment from nature, because that's how you feel when you visit such a wonder. So from that time I was born, it's been part of me. And 101 Views is an exposition of this wonder. And it will leave you amazed, to just leave you speechless after the visit to the Victoria Falls. And this book is a window to that visit to the Victoria Falls.
I can imagine. I've been to Africa. Of course, I'm an African-American man. And I have seen the beauty of Africa, and I'm sure that at one point I saw the Victoria Falls as well. It has that natural beauty about it that we need not only in Africa. We need that in the United States. We need it in Great Britain. We need it all around the world. When we are in the presence of magisterial beauty, let's call it, of nature, how does that change our souls, Dr. Zulu?
The first thing, in fact, before you arrive, as you are driving or flying to the Victoria Falls, as you approach it, you will be amazed at the plume of smoke coming up as if it's a huge burning bush from as far as 30 kilometers away, if you are from Zambia, or 50 kilometers away from Zimbabwe side as you are coming from Bulawayo to Victoria Falls. So that sound as you approach is the sound of, it's a thunderous sound, as if some earthquake is going on, some earth is shaking the ground, when in actual fact it's the force of water coming along from the Zambezi River, going down into a series of gorges, and then making its way down the gorge, coming up as a plume of sand in a spray, covered about 1 kilometer to 2 in width. And this is what people look out for, traveling miles, hundreds and hundreds of tourists every day visiting this wonder. And as they come in, they look for it. It's like a magnet pulling you. And as you arrive at the Victoria Falls, you feel that fulfillment. You feel that you've arrived. And the air around it, so fresh and natural. And the scene around it, so fresh and natural. Everything looks natural. It's like untamed world, untamed Africa. And you feel like you've arrived. You are where you belong. And you feel refreshed. And you feel all your stress seems to fly out from you. And you feel like you've made it.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah, you've made it. You've arrived. And you have arrived here on People of Distinction with Al Cole in the wonderful book that we're talking about today, 101 Views of the Victoria Falls. You can order that at Amazon.com and also at 101views.com. And our guest is Dr. Robert Zulu. He wrote the book, and he's experienced the wonder of the Victoria Falls as well. I'm going to make a quick reflection here. Goes out to you, my listening audience, on People of Distinction. Now, if we travel all around the world, and I've been in a very blessed position to have traveled around the world, certainly every place in this country, in the United States, I see that people are people, wherever they live. Human beings are human beings. We have so much more in common than we have in difference. And one of the big things that we have in common that I mentioned earlier in my introduction is that we're all born babies. We have that innocence within us of love. Even if we've lost that innocence in our adulthood, we can always go back to that first breath that we took, that natural breath that brought us into life, and say, thank you, life, for the honor of experiencing, for a while, the beauty of who you are. This love relationship that I have with life. No better way than nature to understand that. And I'm going to make a point here that I think our guest, Dr. Zulu, is going to agree with. Africa is one of the hubbubs of human society. All right, we know that. It's also one of the most beautiful continents on the planet. And Africans are brought up with that. In other words, they're close to the earth. In the United States, it has beautiful terrain as well. We're not as close to the earth. Every once in a while, we have to take a vacation to see some of the beauty around us, to notice some of the beauty around us through the freeways and through the shopping malls and all of that stuff that we consider to be so important to our everyday lives. But in Africa, they're there. Wow. It's organic, you could say. A lot of times Americans have to go to a certain store, a certain market to pick up organic food. In Africa, maybe all they have to do is go outside and pick it on a tree or pick it from a plant. And then when they look around, that's their habitat. And they're looking around at the mountains or the valleys or the beautiful dappled sunlight. And they're saying to themselves, well, that's what life is all about. And sometimes in other parts of this world, we have to be taught that that's what life is all about. What I'm getting to, people, is we have to honor Africa. We can't just think of it as, oh, this backward continent that we don't know too much about, and we have to help these poor, unfortunate people to learn about life. No. How about if they help us to learn about life a little bit more? Yeah. I've learned so much from Africans. I've learned a lot from Asians. I've learned so much from Hispanics, Latinos, and Latinas. You know, we need to open up our purviews because there's so many things that we're offered of beauty around this planet that are not just, the everyday hustle and bustle. It's not just making money. It's also making love with life. And Africa is a beautiful continent for that. Am I making some sense there, Dr. Zulu?
Yes, you are. In fact, there are people that are interested in birds. Bird viewing is also refreshing. And the Victoria Falls offers you that opportunity to see different types of birds. Because as you walk around, you see weaver birds with their nest hanging from the trees. As you walk around the falls, taking pictures of the falls, you see different types of birds flying, eagles coming, landing up, trying to catch fish from the river.
Yeah.
Elephants, zebras, monkeys, and different types. It's untamed.
Yep.
And the way it is that it's been left as natural as possible, so that you can experience that natural feeling of nature. You get attached to the nature itself and feel how it is to be one with nature.
Yes.
And that's a feeling that the book gives you. That gives you a tip of it.
That's right. And you're bringing up something else here. You're bringing up animals. And let's focus on that too. Now, we know that in the what we call the developed countries around the world, yes, we do know about animals. We usually call them pets, the dogs and the cats. And there might be occasionally some other sorts of pets that we've domesticated, quote unquote. To see them in their natural habitat is something different. And we see that in Africa. And also to see how animals in their natural habitat relate to nature. Now that's something else. Because we don't have a lot of dogs or cats that we can bring into nature all that much. Usually they're in the home or they're on a leash or something like that. But you come from an area of the planet where you see animals relating to the Victoria Falls as well as human beings. Tell us some of the ways that animals relate to the Victoria Falls as well, Robert.
The Victoria Falls is actually situated in the national park, what is called the Livingstone National Park. And animals, most of the animals which are in the park are fairly safe. There are no lions in this park, no lions or leopards in this particular park. Most of the animals are warthogs, elephants, zebras, warthogs of all sorts of shapes. They are the smaller ones and the bigger ones. But what is interesting in this Victoria Falls area is that the animals live together with the people around. You find houses are across with fence, obviously, to protect accidental injury to kids. But the animals have taken the people like, the neighbors, and there's that friendliness, there's that communion, and it's nice. It's very nice to see these wild animals in their natural habitat as you visit the Victoria Falls, because they seem to be enjoying the Victoria Falls as well.
Yep.
When I visit, it's like they're also wondering what's happening to this natural wonder. What is happening? Where is the noise coming from? Obviously, they are living in this area. It's nice. But sometimes you can take a boat cruise along the Zambezi River, trying to see the Victoria Falls from the source of of the falls. Or sometimes you may want to, ride on a microflight and see the Victoria Falls from the top. And you're viewing the Victoria Falls like a bird, flying around the Victoria Falls in a small flight, and then obviously with the experienced pilot, so that you can see it from the top like a bird, and it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And the noise that comes out, the sound that comes out, and the water which comes up the spray is very refreshing. In fact, if you are walking along one of the trails, the many trails, what is called the photographic trail, because that's the area you can take the most pictures and very safe. You get soaked, you get drenched in the spray, and you walk further on, and almost immediately you are dry.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful. It's an amazing feeling.
I can imagine.
The smell of the air. Just imagine the smell which is there. Is the smell of the natural trees, the natural vegetation, the vegetation which is undisturbed, and you tend to get that feeling, the freshness and fresh air coming up, and polluted air, and you feel like you are healed, so to say. It's a nice feeling.
Absolutely.
And in fact, the book has multiple pictures taken from different angles,
Mm-hmm.
so that you could have a glimpse of what you see. In fact, those who have already been there, it's a good book because it gives you a reminder of what you went through. The visit to the Victoria Falls is not a one day, because you would want to stay for 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks. In fact, if you can, 2 weeks is just about it.
Yeah.
And you get to see the Victoria Falls in its fullness. And sometimes you'd like to walk down what is called the boiling point, where the water lands on the ground, deep down the gorge, and you see it going round in a swivel, like water boiling in a pot. That's how the locals call it, the boiling point.
Mm-hmm.
That sight itself it's amazing. It's an amazing sight itself that will cause you to think twice. What is this? What is this nature? It's wonderful.
Wow. We love that on People of Distinction with Al Cole. And that's why we have Dr. Robert Zulu on the line right now talking about his marvelous book, 101 Views of the Victoria Falls. I'll tell you, it's a little bit of the beauty of your own soul here, people, that you're exploring right now with Dr. Robert Zulu and People of Distinction. And I want you to run to Amazon, order this wonderful book. And you can order it, too, at this website, 101views.com. I love this show and the way the panoramic view that you're painting, Dr. Zulu. Let's take it out with some possibility thinking. We just have some minutes left in the show. I end all of my shows with possibility thinking. It's a way to encapsulate not only the information, but the inspiration of any interview that I do in terms of what if whatever my guest was talking about became so natural and so regular in our society. It became a standard. I'm going to put it this way. This is possibility thinking, so it can, we can stretch the parameters here of reality. If every single place on the planet had a Victoria Falls, not just Zimbabwe, not just Zambia, not just Africa in general, but every place, whatever you have been talking about that people experience at the falls, Victoria Falls, when they go there, let's say that we could always experience that. It's just built into our geographic reality and into our soul reality as well. We are all privy at any time to see and excite to the Victoria Falls. Now, it might sound far-fetched, but you know what I'm talking about. This is possibility thinking. What kind of world would that look like if there were Victoria Falls all over the place that it doesn't look like now, Robert?
It would look like it would be a perfect world. The reason why I'm saying that is that when you are visiting the Victoria Falls, you are crossing what is called the Knife Edge Bridge. That's a bridge, a narrow bridge, well secured, crossing over to what is called the Head Island. What you see behind you is a full rainbow, 7 colors of the rainbow, the whole year round, especially when the spray and the water of the mighty Zambezi River is at its highest peak. That rainbow reminds me, in its fullness, of a perfect, all the colors of the rainbow, the 7 colors, perfectly clear, and you can see them, and you look behind and say, wow, I wish the world had its fullness in everything. So if everywhere, if the whole world, all the countries of the world at the Victoria Falls, it will, give you that picture of fullness in everything. That's what the Victoria Falls will bring you.
I agree.
Beautiful sight, beautiful reminder of the fullness of nature.
I agree. I agree so very, very much. And I'm going to cap off this show with a quick reflection of my own that goes out to you, my listening audience here. Yeah, if we all had Victoria Falls around us, it would be like honeymoon time for lovers. And lovers don't necessarily have to be married to each other. They don't even have to have any sort of relationship going outside of they are lovers of life. They're lovers of our human family. And they're married to life in that essential way. We feel that we're part of life. We feel that we're eternal. And don't we all feel that way sometimes, people? We all believe, to differing extents, that we're eternal. That somehow maybe the body dies, but the soul goes on. Well, Victoria Falls is an example of where the soul goes when it goes on. It goes back into the beauty of nature. It goes back into that vibrancy from which it came. And that vibrancy never leaves us, people. And then particularly in our marriages, particularly with our children and the way that we help our children to grow, nurture our children. Isn't it wonderful to have Victoria Falls all around us when we need that extra inspiration, when we need to persevere? And now we can do that. See, we need a touch of that beauty of nature in our lives, day by day. Not just every once in a while, not once a year, for a vacation, day by day. And sometimes, hour by hour. Yeah. Let's make it eternal, people. Let's, in one way, in possibility thinking, well, let's keep that Victoria Falls within our own soul. Even if we can't visit it as much as we want to, let's make it vibrational within our own soul. Let's keep that vision going within our own soul. And as we're doing that, let's say a prayer for others to keep that vision of Victoria Falls in their own soul as well. And that is human energy going out among everybody in the planet, bring people together through the wonders of nature and the beauty of nature. Yeah, we talk that way on People of Distinction with Al Cole. We get into the deep stuff. And Dr. Robert Zulu has laid the plan in this particular episode for that, with 101 views of the Victoria Falls. And I want you to order that book at Amazon.com. Also go to 101views.com. You can order it there as well. And the pictures, I'm sure, are astounding, and you got to love that. And you got to love his book publisher as well. You Are Link, one of the best book publishers in the country, around the world, helping you with all of your best-selling book aspirations. Go to yourlinkpublishing.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Robert Zulu, for this great interview on People of Distinction with Al Cole. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you. It
Yeah.
was good. It was great. I enjoyed the interview.